Hello there, my name is Jen, and we are listening to the lessons of A Course in Miracles. If this is the first lesson you have found, I do ask that you listen to this little introduction. I won't read the whole thing, but I'm going to put it at the beginning of every lesson because it's important to know certain things about what we're doing here. So I really do. If this is your first time finding one of these lessons, please listen to this little beginning first. If you have listened to lessons before, please go to the description box and find the timestamp for when the actual lesson starts. So this is an introduction to the lessons we are doing. Most important parts I think that you should know. First, I like to read this part first. The purpose of these exercises is to train the mind to a different perception of everything in the world. The workbook is divided into two sections. The first dealing with the undoing of what you see now, and the second with the restoration of sight. It is recommended that each exercise be repeated several times a day, preferably in a different place each time, and if possible, in every situation in which you spend any long period of time. The purpose is to train the mind to generalize the lessons so that you will understand that each of them is as applicable to one situation as it is to another. The exercises are very simple. They do not require more than a few minutes, and it does not matter where or when you do them. They need no preparation. They are numbered running from 1 to 365. The training period is 1 year. Do not undertake more than one exercise a day. So I hope that you listen to that and you understand, and there's a purpose why these were given to us this way by the way, Jesus. Here is your lesson. Lesson 4 of A Course in Miracles. These thoughts do not mean anything. Unlike the preceding ones, these exercises do not begin with the idea for the day. In these practice periods, begin with noting the thoughts that are crossing your mind for about a minute. Then apply the idea to them. If you are already aware of unhappy thoughts, use them as subjects for the idea. Do not, however, select only the thoughts you think are bad. You will find, if you train yourself to look at your thoughts, that they represent such as a mixture that, in a sense, none of them can be called good or bad. This is why they do not mean anything. In selecting the subjects for the application of today's idea, the usual specificity is required. Do not be afraid to use good thoughts as well as bad. None of them represents your real thoughts, which are being covered up by them. The good ones, of which you are aware, but shadows of what lies beyond, and shadows make sight difficult. The bad ones are blocks to sight and make seeing impossible. You do not want either. This is a major exercise and will be repeated from time to time in somewhat different form. The aim here is to train you in the first steps toward the goal of separating the meaningless from the meaningful. It is a first attempt in the long-range purpose of learning to see the meaningless as outside you and the meaningful within. It is also the beginning of training your mind to recognize what is the same and what is different. In using your thoughts for application of the idea today, identify each thought by the central figure of event it contains. For example, this thought about blank does not mean anything. It is like the things I see in this room or wherever you are. You can also use the idea for a particular thought which you recognize as harmful. This practice is useful, but is not a substitute for the more random procedures to be followed for the exercises. Do not, however, examine your mind for more than a minute or so. You are too inexperienced as yet to avoid a tendency to become pointlessly preoccupied. Further, since these exercises are the first of their kind, you may find the suspension of judgment in connection with thoughts particularly difficult. Do not repeat these exercises more than 3 or 4 times during the day. We will return to them later. So I spoke about this a little bit in the last lesson. These thoughts do not mean anything. It's only what you've given them, whatever meaning you have assigned to them is the only meaning that they have. So this is about noticing, and again, it depending, I'm a very emotional person because I have that as a gift. Actually, it's a gift. That's how I am able to read tarot cards. That's how I'm able to read people. That's how I'm able to connect to other people through emotions, because my emotions are very strong. So for me, in the beginning, I had to really be careful with this exercise because I do give a lot of meaning. I did give a lot of meaning to my objects. I don't do that anymore. I don't do that anymore. I can give examples just looking around this room. That doesn't mean anything. That statue that somebody made, who means a lot to me, doesn't mean anything unless I want it to. I could look at that statue and be very sad because that person is no longer in my life. Or I could look at it and be very happy because I had the experience of knowing that person. It's all up to me. But for today, I'm going to give it no meaning at all because that's what this exercise is all about. This was one of the lessons that I learned in 2002. I really understood the Buddhist concept of that good is as good as bad. Like everything is equal, because it's the experience of it that we're looking for. So you can choose if you have that experience or not by putting a meaning on it or not. So if you want to put a meaning on it, you have an experience. If the experience is good, hey, that's great. You can continue to hold on to that. If it's bad, that's still great. You can continue to hold on to that if you want. Or you could just be neutral to it and know that good is as good as bad. Bad is as bad as good. It's all the same. When you can really understand that, you get what the Buddha was teaching. Good is as good as bad. Bad is as good as good, because it's just the experience that we came here for. So today we are really noticing that whatever thought you have when you look at an object doesn't mean anything unless you want it to. But for today, try not to have any meaning. Just observe. But if you're not able to do this, if you start going down into the deep well of despair because you're looking at something and you can't assign the neutral or the good meaning to it, you just stop and focus on something else. That's why it's saying to do these only for a minute at a time, because we can't judge, Jesus and I can't judge. You can also ask for help from Spirit doing these, but depending, you have to be the judge of that. Don't start going down the well of despair, looking at items that remind you of somebody who's not in your life, or anything that makes you feel negative. Just observe. All right, that's the lesson for today. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got something out of it. Hope you're having an awesome day and night wherever you are. And most of all, I hope to see you in the next one.